Hello football fans, and welcome to another edition of the Banner Press Coaches Show. I am Banner Press Sports Editor Joe Alberico, and joining me once again is Blinn College head football coach Ryan Mahon. Coach, I just want to get right into it because this is a big week for the the rest of the season. After a tough 42-7 loss to number 5 Kilgore, things kind of come down to this week as far as the playoffs and what's ahead. So first, I just kind of want you to break down for me the loss at Kilgore. I know it was a tough one, but it's not the end of the world because you still have a shot to qualify for the playoffs. But let's start with the loss there.
Right. Well, you have to tip our hat to Kilgore. I mean, they're a very good football team. I think just the thought of them, our guys, they made them bigger than it was. We ran into a couple different things that we really hadn't done a whole lot of. I mean, Brock had thrown 3 interceptions going into the game and then threw 3 in the game. And then we had another fumble. So turnovers is always a major situation. But the game, they came out scoring. They came out playing fast. It was hard to keep up. And then when you get 21 points pretty quickly, it changes your complete outlook. So that's what happened in the game. We are doing our very best to rectify that situation. And the kids, they take it a lot better than we as coaches do. They're young, so they get over it a lot quicker.
So, following that game, the conference is kind of now a big logjam outside of Kilgore and Trinity Valley at the top. Mm-hmm. You're 4-4 overall, 2-4, tied with 3 different teams, and then there's 3 teams ahead of you with a 3-3 record. Like I said, it's not over. You need to win this week, and then you need a bunch of different things to happen across the conference. The best you can. I know it's kind of a weird point system. Break it down for me. What has to go right and what can't go wrong this week in order to get in those playoffs?
Right. Well, obviously we've got to win. Okay, and it's a must-win situation for us. Okay, and when that happens, it puts us in a 3-way tie possibly. The things that must happen for us in order for us to get in there is Kilgore must beat TJC. That must happen. Trinity Valley must beat Navarro. And then Cisco must beat NAO up there. If those things happen and we win, then we're in.
Is it stressful? I mean, you've got 6 teams basically playing for 2 playoff spots right now. I know this is not the situation that you or your players envisioned at the beginning of the year. I know a lot of the guys had some national championship aspirations, and now to find yourself kind of clawing just for a playoff spot. I know it's tough to be in this situation, but man, you just got to go out and play. Yeah,
there's no question. I mean, this is why we talk about 1-0 every week. I mean, if we go 1-0 and we handle up our business, and God willing, those other things do happen, then we're playing again for the same reasons. But no, I mean, it's been a rough football season for us. I mean, injury-wise, guys not doing the right thing. So those are things that we as a football staff decide that it's not going to happen. So. But we are going to win with the good ones, okay? And the ones that are going to stay here, and that's why we always take the picture at the end of the year, not at the beginning of the year, because that's truly what the team's made of. So we'll see what we're all about when we go up to NMMI.
So, we had been talking right before we hit play on the camera, and I'd asked you, this is your 4th year. Has this been the toughest for you? And you said it has. Not that you want a season like this, but is it almost the longer scheme of things when you look back? Is it almost good to have a season like this where you can learn from some things and say, hey, we had adversity and this is what we're going to take away from it next year, and hopefully you can avoid something like this again?
Oh yeah, I mean, every situation that you go into every single year, you take things from it. You glean from the year and try to learn as much as possible. And there's some things that, looking back, we would do differently. But that's kind of, the nature of human beings in general. I mean, if you have adversity and you don't handle it, it's going to show you what kind of person you are. And it's a good learning experience for me, for my coaches and my players. And at the very end of it, I do think it makes us stronger. So it is how you deal with it, and you just correct the mistakes and move on.
So Saturday, you've got another long road trip. You're going to Roswell, New Mexico, which I think is about 9 hours or so. New Mexico Military Institute, this is about as must-win as it gets. They're similar to you in record, 4-4 and 2-4. They do have a couple of wins over teams that handed you losses this season. They defeated Tyler and NEO. They also played Kilgore pretty tough. from the looks of things, though, you don't really want to put too much weight into, you know, who beat who or who lost to who or statistics or any of that. It's just kind of one of those situations where you got a game plan and go out and win. So tell me a little bit about them and how you're planning to get this must-win victory.
Right. I mean, you really can't look at the stats because in this conference, it's really who's going to show up that day. You know, it's really interesting, and you've seen it all year long where teams play well versus one team and they play poorly versus another, and that's kind of why we have this logjam. We're going to have to go out and execute. They're a 3-4 scheme with man behind it on defense, and then they're pretty multiple on offense. The neat thing about them, or the interesting thing about them, is, I mean, it's a military school. So for this game, for them, this is like a vacation for them because they're in class or they're doing military stuff. So they take this as not just a vacation, but this is fun for them. Where it should be fun for everybody, but that's a different outlook they've got. They play incredibly hard. Coach Fortner does a really good job with his kids, and they're going to be very disciplined.
I think if you're one of those casual fans who doesn't really pay attention to you know, the weekly results, you may not really understand how tough the Southwest Junior College Football Conference is. And you had just made a mention that, you know, there's a logjam because it seems like any given week anybody can beat anybody. But with that in mind, has this been one of the more weird seasons? I mean, when you look at the week-to-week results and teams who've beaten who, and, you know, one team, Cisco beats Kilgore and then might have a letdown against a lesser opponent. It's kind of been a weird season these last 9 weeks.
Yeah, it's weird to kind of place an identity on each team because usually at this point you'd be like, hey man, they're really good at this, or they're not very good at that, you know, for every single team. But right now it's whose quarterback's playing well, whose quarterback's not injured, you know, those things. What D lineman is maybe not suspended for somebody, you know, those kinds of things you have to weigh and measure. And really, I couldn't tell you what everybody's really super good at. You have to watch the last 3 games and have an idea about where they're trending toward. But yeah, it's definitely been a very interesting year. What would
it mean to the program just to salvage this last one and salvage a little bit of the season and get into the playoffs? I mean, once you get there, as you said, with this conference, anything could happen.
No, it'd mean a whole lot. I mean, we have aspirations, we have goals, and they're not done yet. So that's what we've got to do. We've got to turn around and go out and play a very good Mexican military team and do our part.
All right, Coach. Well, I'll let you get back to work. I know it's going to be a big week, so thanks for joining us. And fans, thanks for joining us for another week, and hopefully we'll see you next week.